Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about The Shock of the Old. Now this is a book that I read as part of my comprehensive exams, which I could talk a little bit about for a future video. But Shock of the Old is a book that breaks down the history of technology in an interesting way and really changes the way that you will see technology history, especially for some of the stuff that I'm doing. The book is by David Edgerton. What he argues is that a lot of the history of technology is far too preoccupied with innovation. And what Edgerton argues is that we should look at implementation over innovation. So what that means, for example, we could take a look at the internet. We have a video coming out this week about the internet on Step Back and actually on the Alternate History Hub, which was a fun collaboration, by the way. We see in the creation of the internet that the first internet goes online in 1969. A lot of the functions that made the internet work are much older, but yet, can we really say that the internet starts before like the mid-90s when it starts to get widespread usage? What Edgerton would say is that we really need to look at technology more about when things start getting used and when things start getting cheap and accessible rather than when things get invented. Because when things get invented, it's actually a pretty small period. Like, it's not a very big event compared to when it starts to actually impact society. So what Edgerton looks at is where we can look at things in the way that technology changes people's lives rather than when things get their first implementation. And how this applies to my research is that I am studying a period in media history where internet exists and it's widespread and it's widely used, but we can't just look at 9/11, this period, as the age of the internet. There's a lot of different media that are still very prominent, and you have to look at them based on how they're still affecting people's lives. Which means that when looking at something like 2001, you can still look at newspapers because they're still relevant. You can talk about cable and television. In many ways, cable is the predominant media form in 2001. If you were to focus too much on any particular one of these technologies, especially, which you'd probably fall into the trap is focusing on the newest one, which would be the internet, you're going to get an incomplete picture. And that's the main thing that I wanted to bring up. Until next week, I'm Tristan, a historian, IRL.